We're from Newsnight on the BBC.
BBC?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Really?
Fuck off, BBC, mate.
Is that the BBC?
Hey, fuck off, mate.
Oh, yeah. This guy will make nonsense.
President Trump is doubling down on his threat to sue the BBC, confirming his legal team is to seek between $1 and $5 billion in damages, possibly as early as next week.
Yeah, the BBC apologised over its misleading edit of one of Mr Trump's speeches in its Panorama programme, and the Director General and the Head of News resigned, but the President says it's not enough and he has an obligation to sue.
So the BBC has apologised and retracted the report, but they say they won't pay any compensation.
Well, we'll sue them. We'll sue them for anywhere between $1 billion and $5 billion, probably sometime next week.
So you're ready to take...
Well, I think I have to do it. I mean, they've even admitted that they cheated. I mean, not that they couldn't have not done that. They cheated. They changed the words coming out of my mouth. That's worse than what CBS did with Kamala. They changed her answer, but at least they didn't show it, coming out of her mouth.
Have you raised the issue with Sir Keir Starmer?
I have not, but I'll call him. I'm going to call him over the weekend. He actually put a call into me. He's very embarrassed. I don't know what percentage is owned by the country, but regardless if it's small or large or nothing, I can say this, the UK is very, very embarrassed by BBC, what they did.
How far will you push it? Because they haven't offered, our understanding is they've offered no money whatsoever. They've apologised in a letter, but they haven't offered you a penny in compensation. There was this figure of $1 billion that you may be pursuing.
I think I have an obligation to do it. Look, I'm not looking to get into lawsuits, but I think I have an obligation to do it. This was so egregious. If you don't do it, you don't stop it from happening again with other people. I think you probably have an obligation. I'd like to find out why they did it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Who thinks like
they legitimately, you see the BBC thing? The BBC thing is crazy. The head of BBC had to resign because they took a film of Trump from January 6th, the speech that he gave, and they edited it so something that he said 52 minutes later, they put right after when he said something to make it look like he was trying to get people to go attack people and fight at the Capitol.
They do that to you all the time.
But this one's nuts. Not only is this one nuts, but this one is for a literal president of the greatest country the world's ever known. He's the president, and you're lying about what he said publicly, which is on the internet, which anybody can see. Like, it is the clearest indication of how that woke shit was rotting people's brains. And is still, but just less. And they're fucked now.
I would take Donald Trump very seriously. As we know, with CBS, he actually sued them from $10 billion, took the lawsuit up to $20 billion. That ultimately settled for $16 million, and that was with the doctoring of Kamala Harris's interview on 60 Minutes just a couple of days before elections. He will definitely sue the BBC, and I believe corrupt is maybe even too soft. I think fraudulent is probably a more applicable term when it comes to way they deliberately doctored and spliced the language to make him look like he incited violence, and as a result of his words, that the people were marching to the Capitol. Well, I think it's very important that the issue is addressed, that it was misleading, it was deliberate, because this could happen to the UK, to elections here. And President Trump mentioned in that interview, maybe they're doing it to Nigel Farage, given that reform is in the lead right now. So it's very important for the people of the United Kingdom to be able to have faith in their broadcasters, not to try to rewrite the words in their leaders' mouths.
The BBC used to be the paragon of journalism across the world. It was respected. It's now become a laughingstock, and it needs to be put out of its misery.
If I can just bring you back to the BBC, where do you see this going now, President Trump? Do you see this being a long, legal, protracted conflict with the BBC? Would you like to see it
Well,
tied
they've
up
admitted
quickly?
their guilt, but they don't have to admit their guilt. It's on tape, you know. I mean, there's nothing to admit. No, I think very shortly we have a statutory period. We've notified them by writing, and I think you have to wait a week. And so that time's coming up, and after that time comes up, we'll sue them. My lawyers say for $1 billion or more, and we'll see how it all works out. But I can't imagine they could do very well in that lawsuit. What they've done is incredible. I sort of have an obligation, not that I want to do it, I have an obligation to do it. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I've understood, and nobody understands the press because, you know, I'm the one that explained to people it's fake news. But And I hate when people say, oh, I understand the press, because they're fools, because nobody really understands. The press doesn't understand itself. But I will say, I think I have an obligation to bring a major lawsuit against the BBC, because what they did is impossible to believe. You would have never even thought that. Even the Kamala thing, to a certain extent, you know, was so bad, but you could see how it could happen.
Yeah. And it's the idea, I suppose, that you're doing it not just for you, because your feeling is, well, if they could misrepresent me in that way, they could misrepresent anybody in that way.
Well, they can be doing it. And one of the things we'll find out during this litigation, through depositions and everything, is how many other times have they done it to your prime minister? Have they done it to Nigel? Have they done it to, you know, the people that are in your country? The answer is probably yes, but we'll be finding out a lot of things over the next few months. And one of the things, you know, your litigation moves a little bit quickly in your country. So I think it's going to go fairly quickly, although I don't know that we bring it there. We probably bring it someplace in the U.S. from our standpoint.
And you've had success with suing media companies before on behalf
I've
of you and also
success.
Melania as well.
Yeah, that's true. And Melania's had success. No, we've had a lot of success. Because it's fake news. But I've never had anything so fake as the BBC.
The BBC acts on behalf of the state, and when it comes to international affairs, even more brazenly so. The BBC World Service. What do you think the BBC World Service is? It's MI6 with a microphone. It has the same enemies as MI6 and the same friends. And whatever MI6 wants, it gets, and indeed much of its funding even comes from the British Foreign Office, which is the parent of MI6. So the BBC, I want nothing to do with it. They want nothing to do with me, I should admit, but I want nothing to do with it. I hope it goes under. I hope Trump sues them. I hope he costs them $1 billion, and I hope it gets broken up.